Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Liverpool's potential exit for Galatasaray game as Hugo Ekitike decision awaits. Arne Slot faces several selection dilemmas ahead of Liverpool's champions. League trip to Galatasaray on Tuesday. Approaching the end of a grueling 21-day schedule in which the Reds play 7 matches, rotation and maintaining freshness will certainly be on Slot's mind. So too will the disappointing performance. At Selhurst Park on Saturday, few who started in the 2-1 loss against Crystal Palace did anything to convince Slot that they are deserving of a spot in the midweek team. Although Alisson alone can be proud of his contribution, were it not for several important saves from the Brazilian, the margin of defeat would have been significantly worse on Saturday. At the heart of defense, could Slot consider dropping Ibrahima Konate for Joe Gomez? The latter has started just 1 match this season and is eager for minutes, while Konate's form has been up and down in recent weeks. He is Slot's preferred choice, but after the woeful performance at Selhurst Park, an alteration feels possible. The same is true in the fullback departments. Connor Bradley struggled at Palace and was replaced at halftime, although Jeremy Frimpong was criticized for his error that led to Eddie Nketiah's late winner. Meanwhile, Andy Robertson may be introduced for Milos Kerkez on the opposite flank if Slot looks to rotate the team. In midfield, Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai's starting spots appear nailed on, but Alexis McAllister looks like a prime candidate to drop to the bench. Given his minutes are still being managed, Florian Wirtz may move into a number 10 role, although he endured another disappointing outing against Palace and has faced widespread criticism in the aftermath. Curtis Jones is another option, but his form has also been patchy in the early weeks of the season. So has Mohamed Salah's. It's difficult to imagine Slot dropping the 33-year-old, but he needs more output and regular contributions from his star man. He will likely line up on the right wing, with either Wirtz, Cody Gakpo, or Federico Chiesa on the left. The latter scored again at the weekend and has now contributed 4 goal contributions from just 153 minutes this season. Gakpo would seem to be the most obvious choice after he dropped to the bench on Saturday. He had previously started all of the Premier League games this season. In the center, Hugo Ekitike is available after missing Saturday's match due to suspension. Alexander Isak managed 84 minutes against Palace but is still being eased back in after his disjointed summer. The ex-Newcastle man will likely be selected as a substitute in Turkey. Alan Shearer pinpoints Liverpool big concern after summer transfer disaster. Alan Shearer believes Liverpool have a big concern defensively after the Reds fell to a stoppage-time defeat to Crystal Palace on Saturday. Arne Slot's men had looked set to rescue a share of the spoils despite a below-par performance in the capital after Federico Chiesa equalized in the 87th minute. However, Eddie Nketiah then struck a stoppage-time winner for the Eagles in the 97th minute as Liverpool fell to their first league defeat of the season. Following Arsenal's own stoppage-time win away at Newcastle United on Sunday, the Reds' lead at the top of the table has now been cut to 2 points. Despite still sitting clear in first place, Liverpool have not been at their best so far this season following a busy transfer window at Anfield, which saw them embark on a 450-meter spending spree. They have kept just 2 clean sheets from their 9 matches in all competitions so far this season, conceded 2 times in 5 of their games, and required late winners on 5 occasions. Ibrahima Konate has come in for criticism in recent weeks following an inconsistent start to the season, amid ongoing speculation about his future ahead of his contract expiring at the end of the season. Meanwhile, Marc Guéhi rubbed salt in Liverpool wounds on Saturday as he set up Palace's winner after a solid defensive display, having seen the Eagles pull the plug on a 35-millimeter move to Anfield on transfer deadline day. Shearer was impressed by the England international during Palace's win over the Reds, admitting it is obvious why the Reds wanted to sign Guéhi in the first place. But the match of the day pundit singled out Konate's struggles so far this season when he shared his concern at Liverpool's defensive displays. It was a big thing keeping Marc Guéhi because he was the outstanding defender, Shearer said on the Rest is Football podcast. and you can understand exactly why Liverpool wanted to sign him, as well as other clubs, but also why Glasner and Palace wanted to keep him so badly. Konate he got robbed 2 or 3 times, and they should have scored with a couple of his errors. But it's a bit of a concern for Liverpool. Defensively, they've not been great at all. The chances and the way Palace went through them with ease, it was so easy for them at times. It would be a big concern. Arne accused of not being humble after scathing criticism of Liverpool star. Former Liverpool midfielder Jason McAteer has claimed he was surprised by Arne Slot's thinly veiled criticism of Jeremy Frimpong on Saturday in the aftermath of the 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. The Reds dropped points for the first time this season when Oliver Glasner's side earned a well-deserved victory at Selhurst Park. On an off day for the Premier League champions, Palace should have established a commanding lead by half-time, but Alisson's heroics kept the hosts' lead to 1 goal. Liverpool thought it had taken a point in an improved second-half display when Federico Chiesa equalized. Instead, it was Palace that nicked victory in injury time as Hugo Ekitike smashed home a dramatic winner. In the chaos of a Jefferson Lerma long throw, the ex-Arsenal man evaded his marker in the box before firing beyond Alisson. Frimpong had been assigned to mark Nketiah, but as the ball was initially cleared, he pushed forward. When Will Hughes headed the ball back into the box, Palace's number 9 had time to control and volley into the net. Speaking post-match, Slot didn't hide his frustration at Frimpong's decision to advance forward in the final seconds of the game. "We can only blame ourselves for defending the way we did," claimed the Liverpool head coach. "One of our players ran out because he wanted to play a counterattack, which was of no use because time was up, so it was only about defending," he added, clearly referencing Frimpong. One player was too offensively minded in that moment, which led to them scoring the winner and us losing the game. Speaking during beIN Sports' weekend coverage of the Premier League, McAteer admitted he was taken aback that Slot had specifically blamed one player. "I am surprised that Arne Slot has done that in public because, like you said, we know who the player is. It's not like there are 3 or 4 of them." Those comments were echoed by his fellow beIN pundit, Andy Gray. "It was last minute," he said. "They've had some very good fortune themselves in stoppage time this season already." He was obviously gutted because he had a pop at the 4th official. When the goal went in, he was in his ear right away, complaining about something. Frimpong is a new player into the club. He'll still be finding out what is good and not good. I bet if that had been Trent Alexander-Arnold or Mohamed Salah, he wouldn't have mentioned it. When it was suggested in the studio that Slot lacks humility this season in the wake of Liverpool's title win, McAteer said he has noticed a change in the Dutchman's demeanor during press conferences. "I wouldn't say he is basking in his own glory, but he is more confident now," said the Republic of Ireland international. "I think he's more confident in front of the press now. He was a closed book last season. He's more jovial in press conferences right now. He's everybody's mate now." Chris Richards calls out Mo Salah for what he did this weekend. Crystal Palace defender Chris Richards has voiced his frustration after a controversial handball decision involving Liverpool forward Mo Salah in their recent Premier League clash. The moment, which came at a crucial stage of the game, has reignited the debate around VAR and the consistency of refereeing in England's top flight. The incident occurred when Salah appeared to handle the ball during the build-up of the goal that Liverpool scored. Ismaila Sarr scored the opening goal for Palace at Selhurst Park, but Liverpool fought back to level the score late in the second half through Federico Chiesa. Salah appeared to have touched the ball, but the VAR did not consider it illegal and allowed the Liverpool goal. It did not mean anything in the end, since Hugo Ekitike scored in the 97th minute against Arne Slot's side to hand them their first defeat of the season at Mo Salah incident called out by Chris Richards after the match. Palace star Richards posted on his X account with a picture of the Salah handball incident in the tweet. He wrote, "I knew I wasn't seeing things. Oliver Glasner is taking Crystal Palace to new heights." Richards, Frustration highlights an issue that continues to plague the Premier League. While technology is intended to provide clarity, its application around handball decisions has only deepened confusion. Oliver Glasner and his team can be happy now as they stretch their unbeaten run to 18 games in all competitions. During that process, they have beaten Manchester City in the FA Cup, Liverpool in the Community Shield, and managed to achieve other notable results in the Premier League. Palace are now third in the Premier League standings, behind top two Liverpool and Arsenal. Sensational double deal could revolutionize Liverpool. Liverpool may have a truly incredible plan in the works. A double deal that could revolutionize their defense. Liverpool needs center-backs, plural. Giovanni. Leone's long-term knee injury made sure of that, but it's far from the only reason. Ibrahima Konate's future is at the center of the problem. His contract expires at the end of the season, and Liverpool are struggling to find terms they can agree on. On top of that, there's Joe Gomez, who was strongly linked with AC Milan at the end of the transfer window. That deal collapsed, however, mainly because Liverpool were unable to sign Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace. It all sets up an interesting 2026, and one in which the Reds may have something very special lined up, something that would revolutionize their defense. Liverpool's big plans. Liverpool will likely chase two center-backs, one to replace Konate, should he leave, and one to replace Gomez, who appears ready to leave. It seems certain that Guehi is one of the planned arrivals, with Liverpool making it incredibly clear that they want him on a free transfer next year. There's certainly a possible arrival in January, if Palace are willing to negotiate, and the player himself is happy to ignore other suitors. But Liverpool aren't keeping their focus on Guehi. Reports in Germany suggest there's legitimate and strong interest in Diop. Upamecano like Guehi and Konate. He's out of contract in 2026. Liverpool could snap him up on a free transfer, potentially alongside Guehi, in a massive overhaul of the center-backs. The Reds could potentially go from Virgil van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, and Jarell Quansah last season to Van Dijk, Leone, Guehi, and Upamecano. A very different group of center-backs and one offering something new to Slot's squad. Proof that Liverpool are indeed looking for multiple top center-backs is that they're also reportedly considering Ronald Araujo. It's a very wide net being cast here with strong implications that the Reds will move for two defenders. After all, Guehi was ideally the Gomez replacement this summer. That was the plan. Liverpool would have needed a different defender to replace Konate, should he leave at the end of his deal. With Gomez still potentially leaving, along with the Frenchman, it may well be two of the names mentioned above that arrive. It's certainly starting to look likely. Wayne Rooney accuses Liverpool of manipulating temperature of freezing Anfield. Wayne Rooney suspects that Liverpool might have turned down the heating in the away locker room during his Premier League career. The former Manchester United captain visited Anfield on countless occasions during his career, scoring, winning goals there twice, and always felt as though it was frostier than other locker rooms he spent time. Rooney discussed the state of a number of locker rooms in a recent episode of The Wayne Rooney Show, and this is what he had to say about Anfield's. You get some tight dressing rooms. Tottenham and Chelsea were always hot. You'd literally get dressed as quick as you can and then stand outside the dressing room. Anfield was always freezing. I don't know whether they manipulate the temperature in there. In the same episode, Rooney revealed how a burst pipe led to his United teammates' clothes being covered in sewage during a trip to the Stadium of Light. I was actually suspended for the match. But above the dressing rooms were the toilets, and the roof came through when all of the players were in their clothes, Rooney recalled. I think there was a load of whatever goes into the toilet, all over the players and the clothes. The Premier League handbook for the 2025-26 season does not contain anything about minimum temperature requirements, but it does state that both the home and away locker rooms should be a minimum of 30 meters squared in size. Each dressing room must also contain 6 showers, 4 toilets, and 2 wash basins. Rooney was speaking ahead of Liverpool's trip to Crystal Palace on Saturday, when he addressed Hugo Ekitike's suspension for the game after his dismissal against Southampton last week. The Frenchman was shown a second yellow card after taking his shirt off while celebrating a goal. He's been caught up in the emotion of scoring a goal, and he'll probably regret it, said Rooney. I'm not defending it because it is silly, but I'm saying what we've seen over recent years with VAR and players scoring goals and waiting to celebrate and stuff. I think it's actually refreshing to see someone celebrating a goal. He's doing really well. And it's probably a shootout for him and fellow new signing Alexander Isak to start against Palace. He's giving Isak the chance to come in and try and take his place. So I'm sure he'll be devastated. Isak made his first league start against Palace, but struggled to influence proceedings as the Reds succumbed to their first league defeat of the campaign. Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.